My question, I'm on a webcast. I didn't hit the volume, but now I can. So everything's fixed. Thank you. Bye.
So it's kind of got a little wild there.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Wow.
But you're right. I'm glad I was not chosen. So.
Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
Rita?
This is a special meeting being held by the Town Commission in the town of Gulfstream at the call of the mayor on Friday, August 26th at 10 a.m. in the William F. Cole Jr. Commission Chambers of the Town Hall, 100 C Road, Gulfstream, Florida.
Rita, call a roll, please.
Commissioner Orthwein here, Commissioner Smith,
Here.
and Vice Mayor Stanley.
Here. I guess we can do the pledge. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
See, today we've got two items. One is the interlocal agreement between the town of Highland Beach and the town of Gulfstream, and the selection of building permitting and inspection services, RFP 2022-01. We're going item 4A first. Trey?
I'm just going to
Or
introduce
the
it. So,
town manager, sure.
So you all know that we've been working on this for longer than we would have really liked. But Highland Beach was just doing their vetting and their due diligence. And finally, yesterday in their special meeting, they did approve the ILA between Highland Beach and Gulfstream. In fact, Mr. Nazaro was at the meeting. He was able to speak to the commission himself, and the mayor welcomed him there and was very positive about it. In fact, said this enterprise now between Highland Beach and Gulfstream has begun. And so Trey, was the vote unanimous?
Yes, 5-0.
Yeah, so all the discussion was very positive about it. And so he's correct. I mean, all we have to do is approve this if that's your choice. Moving forward, if we approve this today, Rebecca and Dina already have a meeting set up with the building department director over there for training. They've already had one meeting. All of this is digital now. And so they've been training on the new software, and they'll be doing that again on Monday. And so the plan for this transition, just talking to Rebecca and Trey this morning, knowing that she's already going to be over there, we're going to try to set up a staff meeting with their staff after their training. This would be similar to the transition meeting that we had with Delray Beach last week, the transition out of our agreement with Delray Beach and how we would handle that. So that's the path forward. And we'll find out more about when we can actually begin to, send our applications over there. And Rebecca seemed to think that by Tuesday or Wednesday, we could probably start doing that, but we would know more about that on Monday. With that, I'm going to kind of turn it over to Trey to talk about the ILA. If you have any questions about that, their town commission did make a few suggested minor changes, I guess you would describe them, right?
Yes.
And so I'll let Trey kind of go over that with you right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry, Mr. Town Manager, pardon me.
I mean, I got every
I've been to so many Delray and now Highland Beach meetings that I'm used to starting my conversation by, hello, Mayor, Trey Nazaro on behalf of the town of Gulfstream, but you all know that. So I passed out for the benefit of the commission a loose page from the Highland Beach agenda packet, which serves to provide you with the change that they wanted, I believe, last month. And that is marked page 3 or page 15 there at the bottom. And the language is in bold. I don't know does everyone have a copy of that?
We do.
Had the manager pass it down?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So they struck fees charged at Gulfstream properties shall be the same as those charged at Highland Beach properties. And on a first come, first served basis, and all permits shall be processed. And then they left that and struck on a first come, first served basis with permits from neither. So I put that in there because at our previous discussions, we wanted to make sure that Gulfstream was not being charged more and that there would be equal priority given to both permits. So the building official sees that language as unnecessary. And first, I guess I'll address the fees. So fees are covered very closely by the Florida Building Code. So you can't use your building department to essentially support operations. It really needs to be self-sufficient, and those are very closely regulated. The reason that they wanted to strike that fees charged at Gulfstream property shall be the same as those charged at Highland Beach is because they're going to use a small amount of the revenue generated from some additional customers to and that permitting fee, I guess, revenue that they've gotten previously to offset the cost to Highland Beach residents. So their building department, I guess, has been operating sort of generating some fees. So they're going to be able to use that to reduce fees for their own residents moving forward. And they wanted to be able to do that. So it was important to them to be able to just, here's our flat fee schedule, and that our residents are going to be charged 10% less. I don't think that's, I mean, that seems completely fair and reasonable and is based on the, I guess, the fees that they've generated over the last few years of their building department. The language that they've added is all permits shall be processed in a timely manner pursuant to section 553.72 and 553.792 Florida statutes. They didn't want to be required to process maybe a smaller permit before a larger permit when all those permits need to get the same attention and have different, I guess, timing requirements under the Florida Building Code. So their building official said, I just want to make sure that I'm following the law and that I don't have an interlocal agreement that sort of is impeding that. There was a lot of discussion at the Financial Advisory Board meeting on Tuesday about, well, you know, can we make sure that Highland Beach residents have, you know, 4 days worth of inspection and then Gulfstream only has 1, and their building official made it very clear. Everyone's getting the same time. It's every single day. We have a lot of people from West Palm Beach that are traveling because a lot of their inspectors, you know, they don't start in Highland Beach. They have to drive from, he indicated, either an officer or I guess where they start their day is in West Palm. They would have to actually drive by Gulfstream to get to Highland Beach to do an inspection. So he sees that day starting with inspections in Gulfstream, then being at Highland Beach, and due to additional permit volume, having someone that's more dedicated to this whole operation, the interlocal agreement, both Gulfstream and Highland Beach, serving them most of the day, if not all day, and then being available to Gulfstream and Highland Beach residents during that entire time, as opposed to instances in the past that he described where there would be a failed inspection at Highland Beach and they'd fix it and they'd call for re-inspection the same day, and the guy would be in like Pahokee or something. I mean, he'd be out west or somewhere where he could not come back. So again, they see that as very positive for their residents. And the building official made it very clear in the way that he's going to run the department is that, you know, Gulfstream is going to be, inspectors are going to be available for Gulfstream 5 days a week, just like they are Highland Beach residents. So that kind of, those comments, those concerns resulted in this language change, but the end result is, I think, consistent with what the Gulfstream Town Commission desired when we were talking about language to include in an interlocal agreement. So then just moving on to, are there any questions about those 2 changes that were made by them last month? Okay. And then, and the actual interlocal agreement that is an exhibit to the, and part of the agenda packet. If you look at page 4, that is the first red line area. The interlocal agreement was based, it was drafted by me. It was based mostly on our current interlocal agreement with Delray Beach, with some minor changes, obviously, to incorporate the new system within Highland Beach. So one of the issues that was brought up at the meeting was to make sure that there was enough insurance coverage in the event that something went sideways. You know, I talked to their town attorney during the meeting. He stepped off the dais and he said, why don't you just include that you would name them as an additional insured in the liability portion of your insurance policy. We already, in paragraph 6, we hold harmless and indemnify them. They are providing services for Gulfstream. We don't waive sovereign immunity, so we do have some protection there that still remains. And we were already required in our Delray Beach contract to ensure in that current paragraph 7 before the red line that currently exists in our existing contract. So Rebecca too was watching the meeting while it was going on, and she reached out to our insurance carrier, and we went ahead and sent this agreement over to them to make sure that we were going to have no negative impacts, because largely the insurance that we're carrying is going to be the same as what we have with our current agreement with Delray. Again, because none of that has changed. The next paragraph, new paragraph 8, there on page 4. Glenn, I guess, after the meeting or during the meeting, I think maybe talked to the manager or something, and he said, hey, can you just add a very simple mediation paragraph there? So Highland Beach was very positive, but also wanted to make sure, I think that they have a bad taste in their mouth with some interlocal agreements, so they're very cautious about doing this. So they wanted to make sure that in the event that it doesn't work out for them for whatever reason, they can provide notice, which it's a 90-day notice of termination. They just say, we don't want to do your permits anymore, and we kind of go our separate ways. But they wanted some sort of a mediation clause in there that if we do have a dispute, that we can kind of mediate it. I kind of found that as unnecessary, and that we could easily work things out if we did have a disagreement, but that's now in the agreement. It's fairly innocuous, really, from our standpoint, but something that they wanted, and absolutely we would want to mediate any dispute to the extent that it was minor, to the point we did not want to terminate the agreement with the termination clause. And then there at the end of page 4, again, going into sort of the termination phase, and kind of a mistake that I wanted to correct in our current interlocal agreement with Delray Beach is, in the event the agreement is terminated, permits that were filed with Highland Beach will be processed to completion and shall be covered for the terms of this agreement. In working with the city attorney with Delray Beach, she's very concerned about, well, if our interlocal agreement is terminated and my people keep processing your permits, where's the sovereign immunity? Where's the insurance? Like, we don't have those protections if the interlocal agreement is terminated. So I just added that provision in there as well. So again, if we part ways somewhere in the future, they have the ability to be protected by insurance and sovereign immunity in the terms of the agreement, and can continue to process our permits in the same way as they did before, as opposed to having to kind of worry about the separation that we've kind of been in the middle of right now. Again, if there are any questions, Highland Beach seemed very positive. The manager's very positive. Their their finance director, very positive. Their building official, all very positive. At one point, someone from the financial advisory board meeting on Tuesday, and frankly, a few of the people on the commission were kind of wondering why the commission was getting involved in a staff decision. If staff decided that this was a good idea, why are we really questioning them? If we trust our staff, we should absolutely go forward with this. So we have the support of the staff and we have the support of the commission. And at this point, they have, as Greg said, approved the enterprise 5-0. They want to move forward. They're essentially directing the building official to get started. And we would just need a motion to approve the interlocal agreement as presented and authorize the mayor to execute same. And we can go ahead and provide that to them. I did indicate at the meeting that we are kind of not necessarily in a time crunch, but we do have a special meeting on Friday, and we were very interested in getting this taken care of. And the mayor kind of assured me that, listen, we approved it. We're just going to change the language, and it's kind of a done deal essentially. This language was signed off on by their town attorney, so I don't see any issues with this language. It's just really kind of like Greg was saying, moving forward. You know, Rebecca has a meeting with them on Monday. I think that it will be a good transition. Yeah. We're not going to be, and I guess they won't be able to issue permits until we have their official sign off on the interlocal agreement. But I'd like to, get this ideally approved today and sent back to them for their final approval.
Questions? No. I'll make a motion that we approve the interlocal agreement between the town of Highland Beach and the town of Gulfstream for building department services as presented to us, consisting of 6 pages, including the red line changes that have shown.
Second.
Rita, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Orthwein,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley.
Yes.
Vice Mayor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So how do we transition out of Delray with permits?
Sure. So we have met with their development services director, who's the head of that department, Steve Tobias, their building official, and their city attorney. I think it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. We're dealing with that kind of every day. The city attorney is concerned about moving forward without the protections of the interlocal agreement. So we may have like kind of a bridge interlocal agreement that provides them with those protections. In the meantime, I'm working with the city attorney on that to make sure that whatever she feels comfortable with, but we obviously need the ability for them to continue working on the permits that they're kind of midstream on. They mentioned that I guess maybe their building official was there when we transitioned from the county to Delray. So he kind of remembers the county kind of shoving everything over in their laps. And he said, we want to be better neighbors than the county was to you 12 years ago. So, we've had very positive discussions with Delray, and we're hopeful that we can get something that eases the mind of the city attorney, and we can continue working on those seamlessly. I think there was an issue about the timing and whether or not they're going to continue processing, a certain permit for the next 3 years. And I kind of assured her that we do have building construction limitations. I said, I'll provide you with that ordinance. It kind of gives you an average time frame of the time from a permit issuance to CO based on square footage. So you can kind of compare that to where we're looking at to get an estimation of how long this certain permits that are in Delray may last. And then of course there was the issue, there's an issue with Kerry Glickstein's project because they have the infrastructure in there. And I think that the way they do it is they don't close that permit until all of the development has been built. So there was maybe an issue with how to work with that permit and close it out at some point, but then also transfer like whatever remaining work needs to be done to Highland Beach. So that is something that we're kind of working on. But as far as the existing permits that have already been filed, I think we'll be fine as long as we can get something from there, from the city commission. Kind of that, like I said, the city attorney feels comfortable with to make sure that they're good to continue with everything that they have currently.
Excuse me, but I think it's fair to say that we didn't really come to a conclusion on maybe if there was a set date where the existing permits that they're still working on and processing. There would be a set date where those would have to be, transitioned, to Highland Beach. We didn't come to a conclusion about that.
Right. I
really.
think that we were trying to get them to finish them. It's just their comfort level of
Yeah.
continuing to work on them. I think it'd be easiest to, they have the permits. They've already taken certain permit fees. I mean, they're
Yeah,
working on it.
collected the fees on them.
Right.
So
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
so
kind of
it's
Just
where,
let us, if
finish
we
it.
run into a problem, let us.
Oh,
let us
yeah.
know.
We will be
I mean, I'm
keeping you-
sure on one project, if it didn't quite match up, they'd have to do a rebate of some sort to either us or to Highland Beach, at least maybe on the Glickstein project. The rest of it, I feel they should be able to finish.
and that is in our old interlocal agreement from 12 years ago, that those would be prorated and refunded to the
Similar
town.
language to what we just saw.
Correct. Yes, sir. That's correct.
But over the last month or 5 or 6 weeks, with the final 60-day notice where we had a definite date where it would terminate, we have only been sending emergency applications over to them, or applications that they believe could be turned around in 60 days, which basically are just emergency type applications. And so we have not.
AC change-ups, that sort of stuff.
Roof
Yeah.
leaks, that sort of thing. So we have a lot that we have talked about with people, and helping them out, although they didn't want to hear, oh, well, can you wait a couple more weeks? We've got these meetings coming up and then we'll have a solution for you. But we were able to say to them that they probably would, their permits would be approved faster anyway. I mean, if they waited till and then plus Delray really wasn't taking anything. So we have some people that are waiting, and so we're glad that we can work this out and start working with those people.
Okay.
This is good.
We cover 4B.
So for,
Yeah.
thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. So Rebecca was the chair of our selection committee that went through and reviewed 3 proposals. We did put the interlocal agreement as first because we felt like in previous conversations with the commission that the interlocal agreement was the way to go rather than just using a third party for building department services. So in the event that we do have a 24-hour notice requirement for our meetings, and we weren't sure what was going to happen at Highland Beach's meeting yesterday. So that was kind of a belt and suspenders type operation, that if the interlocal agreement was not approved or the town commission had an issue with it and didn't want to move forward, that we would still be able to approve something today. So our selection committee met yesterday, and Rebecca can maybe give you some details on that.
Okay, so we've had pre-submittals for our submissions for our RFP 22-01 that went out for permitting services. We, Trey Mazzaro, myself, and Dino Williams, who also works very closely with permits, we decided we were the 3 probably best qualified to look at what the services were going to be and how they were presenting that they would meet our needs. So very simple, the submissions were from CAP Government, Universal Engineering Services, and Hybrid Incorporated. And so after we tallied our votes, CAP Government came out to be the top score, which is interesting because they are also the entity that Highland Beach uses to subsidize their building department staff. So either way, we would have ended up with CAP Government, but now we have Jeff Remus acting as our building official from Highland Beach, and he'll kind of oversee and watch over, and we have a much more intimate, personable kind of relationship with him. So I think that it'll work very nicely. So.
Yeah, many towns have building departments also, they could be described as a hybrid setup because they do use a third party.
Inspection plan review.
Right.
Where are they, in West Palm?
They are located in West Palm. Mr. Remus does have dedicated staff that works specifically with Highland Beach. He actually came from CAP government. And before he became the building official over at Highland Beach when they brought it in. And he understands the level of service that we demand and they demand for their residents. And so he has sort of handpicked the plan reviewers and inspectors that he feels confident and understand how to interact with the residents and the contractors and have that level of professionalism that he really likes. And that's one of the reasons that I feel more comfortable with the ILA than going straight with CAP government, because he really does, he understands the type of municipalities that we have, and he cares, and he really wants it done correctly. And I just feel comfortable with that level of concern and coverage.
So I'll just add a comment. So I've worked with both types of setups, the third party, private building officials, and hybrid type, or just a all-inclusive in-house building department. And so I'm like Rebecca, the employees at Highland Beach, the residents at Highland Beach have the same expectations that we do here in Gulfstream. And so therefore the employees at Highland Beach know what those expectations are. And Marshall, the town manager, is a good friend of mine. I feel very comfortable with him. I think this hybrid setup is good. This is not to say a third party setup is bad. I just prefer this because it involves a local government, and it's more manageable, I believe, for them, and it's better for us because we have instant contact with. I can just call up the town manager there and discuss things instead of going through a lot of red tape. So I'm really happy with this setup that we have.
Does this require any action by us?
No, we already approving the interlocal agreement. We're good to
Okay.
just move forward on that.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So now you can go have a donut.
Donuts.
What? Oh, no.